Dunedin, Florida, and the fans are flocking to the ballpark. The Pittsburgh Pirates are in town, and competition for the 5th spot in the rotation continues. Drew Hutchison, Jesse Chavez, Aaron Sanchez, and Gavin Floyd. Floyd will pitch in this game this afternoon here in Dunedin. Oh, what a difference a day makes. The rain from yesterday has moved out of town. It's a brilliant sunny afternoon here in Dunedin, Florida. The Blue Jay fans are making their way into Florida Auto Exchange Stadium. Clint Hurdle and the Pittsburgh Pirates are here in Dunedin to take on John Gibbons and the Blue Jays. Hello, everybody. I'm Buck Martinez, along with my partner, Pat Tabler. And, Pat, there were so many great things that happened with this Blue Jays ball club a year ago. But one thing that might get overlooked is just exactly how good Marco Estrada was.
He seemed to get better and better as the season progressed last year. And if you look over his last 13 starts, he was nearly unhittable. 6-2 with a 263 earned run average. That doesn't even count how good he was in the playoffs. Well, he became a free agent. He took that strong start to free agency. The Blue Jays re-signed him. He is now in that rotation. You can pencil him right into that rotation, and there's no worries about the bad back.
Well, you can't pencil in that 5th starter just yet. The competition continues, and it's been a very stiff competition indeed.
It certainly has, and I had a chance to talk with John Gibbons about that this morning. He said, we're going to do what's best for this ball club. I'm looking for someone to be consistent. Go out there every single time you get the ball and do your job. Give us some innings. With our offense, you should win plenty of ball games. These are the 4 guys who are going to be battling for that last spot. Sanchez, Floyd, Hutchison, and Chavez. They've all pitched well. It's going to be very interesting as we head to the last week of spring training.
Marco Estrada will pitch here today. Made 28 starts a year ago. This is his first start of the spring. And for more on Estrada, let's check in with Hazel May.
Buck, Marco Estrada will be making his first start here at Florida Auto Exchange Stadium. Expect him to build off of those 2 innings pitched from his work over at the minor league complex. Manager John Gibbons telling me this morning that Estrada's back issues, you can forget it. In the rear view mirror, that's in the past. So barring any setbacks, though, he is, as he would put it, good to go. Now, because of the rain out yesterday, veteran right-hander Gavin Floyd will back up Estrada. Expect to also see Leon and Choate at some point this afternoon. As for Jay Happ, who really needed to get his work in today, he will do so, Buck, but over at the minor league complex.
Jay Happ pitched for the Pirates last year. In the second half of this season, the Blue Jays back on the field today. Everything is upbeat with the Blue Jays. They are anxious to get this game underway and get the season started. Welcome back to sunny Dunedin, Florida. Pittsburgh Pirates are in town. Clinton Hurdle is their skipper. 58-year-old Clinton Hurdle was the National League Manager of the Year in 2013. He's taken his Pittsburgh Pirates to the postseason 3 consecutive years. Unfortunately, they met up with Jake Arrieta and the Red Hot Chicago Cubs last year, and they were shut out in that National League wild card game. Here's a look at the lineup for the Pirates. Andrew McCutchen, their great center fielder. He has won 4 consecutive National League Silver Slugger Awards in center field for the Pirates. He's a terrific all-around player that can do a lot of things. Then down in the cleanup spot, how about Starling Marte? 19 home runs a year ago, 81 RBIs. Those are both career highs, and he is right in the middle of a very potent Pirate lineup. Now it's time for the starting pitchers, brought to you by Scott's Turf Builder. Green Max Lawn Crew hit a deep green lawn in just 3 days.
Well, it's been a couple of weeks, but the Blue Jays are finally going to get a chance to see Marco Estrada in a big league game. He did pitch those couple of innings down in the minor leagues a few days ago, and he will get the shot here to build on what he did last year. Look at those outstanding numbers. 34 games, 13-8. That was a career high in wins and games started and innings pitched, looking to take up right where he left off last season.
Marco got off to a little bit of a slow start. He had a minor back injury that kept him out of the action for a while. As Hazel May mentioned in the open, he had pitched a minor league game through a couple innings over there. This is his first big league action in spring training, and he is anxious to get this game under his belt.
A lot like last season. Remember, he had the ankle problems last year in spring training and made the team last season out of the bullpen and then put into the starting rotation, had an outstanding season.
John Jaso will lead things off. He goes after the first pitch and fouls it straight back, and we are underway. 26 degrees here in Dunedin. While back home in Toronto, it is 0. So we hope you're inside watching this ball game this afternoon, thinking about the sunshine. Jaso bunts it up the third baseline, and Josh Donaldson's hollering at him. Come on, you big guy, what are you bunting for?
You know what, Buck? We might see a little bit more of this season. The Blue Jays are playing that exaggerated shift with 3 infielders on the right side of the infield. Josh Donaldson, the only infielder on the left side. And John Jaso, all he had to do was just get it by Marco Estrada. He could have walked to first base.
Yeah, I think you're going to see more of that. I agree with you. And Marco Estrada says, you want to bunt? Wear this one a little bit. I like it. A couple of postseason teams from a year ago. 1-2 to Jaso. Change up. That's his bread and butter.
It's one of the best change-ups in all of baseball. He can throw it at any time in the count. He can throw it early in the count. He can use it as a finishing pitch.
That one missed down and in. Of course, Jaso and Josh Donaldson were teammates with the Oakland Athletics. Jaso was there 13-14. Last season, he spent his time with the Tampa Bay Rays. Got in just 70 games as he dealt with injuries. That's a ball inside. It's a full count.
Brought over here to the Pittsburgh Pirates because he's had an outstanding on-base percentage in his career. Outstanding. And they put him in that number 1 spot, the leadoff spot.
He's going to play first base. At least that's the plan here in spring training. And it's a very aggressive plan because John Jaso has played a total of 2 big league games at first.
They let Pedro Alvarez go.
Yeah.
He was their first baseman last year.
Upstairs for a ball. Jaso's aboard. Take a look at the defense behind Marco Estrada, and it's been great this spring. They've committed just 7 errors in 17 games. In the outfield, this could be the opening day outfield for sure. Sanders, Pilar, and Bautista. On the infield, Donaldson, Tulowitzki, Goins, and Colabella from third to first. And the catcher is Russell Martin, the former Pirate.
And that's good because Martin is now going to catch Marco Estrada. Remember last season, Diana Navarro got the lion's share of catching with Estrada. Really started incorporating that fastball and cutter a little bit more.
Andrew McCutchen goes after that first pitch and lifts a high fly ball to left field, and that ball is just foul. McCutcheon trying to ambush that first pitch. He had 23 home runs a year ago and drove in 96. What a player.
Former NL MVP. Doing it in the spring also. He's got 3 home runs. I think that's the approach you have to have against Marco Estrada. The first fastball you see, you got to get on top of it.
This one's got a chance to right. Bautista looking up. It is up and gone. Andrew McCutcheon. He's been on fire. He's homered in 4 straight games now. Home run number 4. Chaser with the leadoff walk, and McCutcheon passes him in.
It's a Pirates team that can score a lot of runs. They've got a terrific offensive ball club, and they brought their A-team here this afternoon. So Marco Estrada, even though it's his first start of the spring, he's going to be in tough against this team. McCutcheon, it looked like a fastball. They wanted it down and away, and it splits the heart of the plate, and he knows it.
The Pirates a year ago were 5th in the National League in batting average. They hit .260 as a team, and they scored 4.3 runs a game. That was good for 4th in the National League. And you put that together with a great pitching staff, and that spells postseason. This is David Freese. He goes after that changeup. Freese was brought in late as a free agent, trying to help out at third base. He drives this ball deep to right. Bautista giving chase over in the corner and can't make the catch. Good effort by Bautista down in that corner. Not a lot of room down there.
Well, Marco Estrada will give up his share of fly balls. Fly ball pitcher. He will also give up his share of home runs, 24 from last year. Here's the replay. Another ball down the line. This ball slicing away from Bautista, and there's not a lot of room down there. And you know John Gibbons was holding his breath on that one, saying, okay, it's just spring training, don't worry about it.
Breaking ball. Freeze fouls it off. It's 1-2. Had you mentioned Estrada worked so well with Yonder Navarro, and now Russell Martin's going to catch him all the time. What kind of adjustments does that present for Estrada?
Well, Deanna was so good last season by incorporating that high fastball. Russell does the same thing. Russell calls a great game back there. It might take some time, though, for these two to get on the same page. They'll talk about it. They'll talk about hitters. They're very intelligent players, both of them, Estrada and Russell Martin. Very intelligent, and they'll get it together.
Marco was 13-8 last season. He didn't move into the starting rotation until May 5th. There's that changeup, another walk. Estrada wanted that call. Come play the umpire is Bob Davidson today. So Martin just checking with Davidson to make sure that that was downstairs.
That's a couple of them. He thought he had Jaso struck out, the first batter of the ball game, and that time he thought he got Freese.
This is Starling Marte. We mentioned his career high last year. He had 19 home runs, a new high, and 81 RBIs, also a new high. And the Pirates got their hitting shoes on today. Michael Saunders plays it back in. Starling Marte goes after the first pitch, and that's been the approach for these Pirates against Estrada.
They can hit. He's got a very quick bat. No stride at all. He uses his hands. Look at this. No stride, just use the hands, and he stays back long enough on that off-speed pitch. Rips it into left field.
This is Gregory Polanco, and this is a very deep lineup. They've got a lot of weapons, although they lost some big hitters in their lineup from a year ago. Neil Walker, their second baseman, and Pedro Alvarez, their first baseman. They lost some home run pop.
Counting on this guy right here to take the next step in his development as a player. He had great minor league numbers.
He goes after the first pitch. That's going to be a fly ball to left. Saunders catches it. The runners hold their ground. So the instructions in the pregame meeting, hey, go after his first pitch. Don't let him get to that changeup and the cutter. And they've been jumping on his first pitch.
You know, that's where you might see Russell Martin then say, okay, let's start using that cutter a little bit more, especially early in the count. If these guys are up here hacking, maybe you can get yourself a ground ball.
This is Josh Harrison, who figures to be the everyday second baseman this year. He goes after the first pitch. Well, everybody's got to work on different things in the spring. Marco started making his first start. He's just trying to throw strikes and get acclimated to that mound.
Threw a couple of innings down in the minor leagues last week, but that doesn't count against the minor leaguers. You're facing the Pittsburgh Pirates, and again, they brought their A team over here.
Harrison will turn 29 on the 8th of July. He came over to the Pirates from the Cubs in 2009. Been a nice player for them and developed into a good everyday player now.
You know what he can do? He can play multiple positions. He's played third. He can play second. He's a good outfielder. He's just a good athlete.
Tulowitzki in the hole, throws on the run and makes a terrific play to throw out Harrison. Josh wasn't sure. He was hustling down the line. Tulowitzki, he gets a lot on that throw from all different angles. He throws him out.
You know, that's where speed really shows up, I think, for the Pirates, because the runner at first base, that's Starling Marte, he's going to hustle down to second base, not really giving Tulowitzki a chance to go the short route into the middle of the diamond. So he's got to throw across his body, across the infield, and just nip Josh Harrison over at first base. Nice stretch right there from Colabello.
Yeah, and Tulowitzki, of course, knows the Pirates very well and recognized he had no chance at all to go to second because of Marche's speed and his hustle. Now there are runners at second and third with 2 outs. This is Michael Morse. Morse has been around. He began his career as a shortstop with the Seattle Mariners, got to the big leagues in 2005. He's played with the Mariners, the Nationals, spent some time in Baltimore, San Francisco, and Miami.
Be careful with this guy. He is looking to go large every time up there.
Yeah, you can see he's back-legging it. He's looking for something that he can drive.
Well, he's an extreme fly ball type of hitter. Likes to lift the ball in the air, and he's so big and he's so strong. His fly balls, for normal people that are just warning track, his leave the ballpark.
Ball and a strike to Morse. Down and away. The thing about Marco Estrada is he's going to get hit around, and it's going to take him a while to get his command. He's not a power guy. He works on changing speeds and location is going to be the last thing that falls into place for him. Good block by Martin.
It's a touch and feel type of pitch. His curveball, his great changeup, and you're right. To get out there and face major league pitching, you got to have all your arsenal when you don't throw that hard. Good job right there by Russell Martin to save a run. Down there, don't try and catch it, just block it, keep it in front of you.
All right. 3-1 changeup and a good one.
Anytime in the count. I think Marco understands that the Pirates are sitting on that fastball, especially early in the count, so he pulls the string on them.
Fly ball to right. Bautista back near the track. Reaches up, makes the catch. He saves a couple of runs. Marco Estrada gives up 2 runs on 2 hits and a home run to Andrew McCutcheon. Rained out yesterday. John Gibbons in the ball club, anxious to play this game. They'll have an off day tomorrow. Let's take a look at the Blue Jays lineup. It is close to the everyday lineup without Edwin Encarnacion, Jose Bautista. Over the last 6 seasons, Bautista leads Major League Baseball with 227 home runs, and in that time, he's also been the home run champ twice. Ryan Goins has had a terrific spring, batting .320 for the spring, 8 for 25 with a couple of extra base hits and 6 RBIs. Now it's time to take a look at the starting pitchers, and brought to you by Scott's Turf Builder Green Max Lawn Food. Get a deep green lawn in just 3 days.
A.J. Sugar will get the start this afternoon. This was Ryan Vogelson's spot in the rotation for the Pirates, but they decided to keep him back in Bradenton and pitch in a minor league game. They were talking about where he can use a controlled environment instead of getting on the bus coming on up here to Dunedin. So he's going to pitch down in the minor league. Sugar will get the start. There are his numbers this spring. This is his 7th appearance and first start of the spring. Last appearance was Thursday when he pitched a scoreless inning against the Yankees.
A.J. Schugel is bounced around a bit. He will turn 27 on the 27th of June this summer. He was signed originally by the Angels. His only big league time, 2015. He got into 5 games with the Arizona Diamondbacks. Kevin Pillar getting the at-bats in the leadoff spot here in the spring. Kevin is 7 for 30. So far this spring. That's a .230 average. Last year he had .278, had a terrific season.
Yes, he did. And you don't really want to look at any numbers in spring training. Had a chance to watch Pillar the last couple of days around the batting cage, and he looks great. He's got that bat flattened out just a little bit more. He's spread out. Seems to be under control of himself.
Chops this one foul outside of third.
And you know the next thing that follows then, when you have good rounds of batting practice, you're going to start hitting the ball in the game.
One thing we're going to talk about through the course of this game is just how much of a team this has become. I'm telling you what, these guys love to play baseball. 0-2 to Pillar, way outside. Pat, you saw it around the batting cage. I mean, there is a lot of things going on in the chemistry department with this team.
We talked about the guys who they share information with each other, but they like each other. They like being around each other. They're ribbing each other every day.
Fly ball to left. Marte back on the warning track. A stride on the path. He makes the catch. Pillar is retired on a high fly ball to left. Well, the Pittsburgh Pirates defensively, they got some guys in the outfield that can really go get them. Starting Marte in left, Andrew McCutcheon in center, and Gregory Polanco in the right. David Freese and Jordy Mercer on the left side. Josh Harrison and John Jaso on the right side. And Chris Stewart, the backup catcher for the Pirates, gets to start this afternoon.
So nice to have an outfielder that you can build around. This is Andrew McCutcheon, Gold Glove winner of 2012. 5-time All-Star, one of the best players in all of baseball. Last season, just 2 errors in 157 games. He's one of the best players.
He's among the leaders in many offensive categories, and then you factor in that great defense in the center. Truly a star player. Josh Donaldson with the ball and the strike. Talking about stars. Donaldson is 7 for 21 so far this spring, but he's looking for his first extra base hit.
I talked to Brooke Jacoby about him today, the hitting coach for the Blue Jays. And I said, how come he hasn't hit any home runs? He said, you know what? He's starting to get it. He wanted to just get the feel of the movement that you need in the batting box early in spring training. Try to go back up the middle. He says he's starting to get locked in, and you're going to start to see the ball being driven into the gaps.
Chases this one down and away after that curveball strike. Looked like an off-speed pitch away from it. He strikes out.
That's Shugo's strikeout pitch right there. The slow curveball down and away.
Jose Bautista bats with 2 outs and nobody on. And this is an interesting at-bat. In this day and age of so much information, it's been proven that the number 3 hitters around baseball come up more often in this situation than you would think. 2 outs, nobody on.
You want your best hitter, at least the old school talks about the number 3 hitter is your best hitter, so you want him hitting third. that's slowly changing where you want your first 2 hitters in the lineup to be your best hitters. And they've done a study. 2 outs, nobody on. Paul Goldschmidt, #1 in all of baseball. He came up the most times last year with nobody on base. Andrew McCutchen, a #3 hitter for the Pittsburgh Pirates last year, came up for the 2nd most. I think Bautista was 4th. So it makes sense if you have your best hitter coming up that many times without anybody on base, maybe you move him in the lineup.
It's not an accident that Clint Hurdle has moved McCutchen into the 2 spot. This ball is driven to the alley in right center, and McCutchen's not going to get it. It's over his head. Bautista makes the turn. He's heading for second. They get there standing up. Boy, that's a good piece of hitting right there. He stayed on it and drove it to the deep part of this ballpark in right center.
You know, Jose's got one of the quickest bats in baseball, and he can pull the ball out of the ballpark. But this piece of hitting right here, how he stays inside the baseball and drives it to right field. This ball is slicing away from McCutchen, and the Gold Glover can't run this one down. That's what makes Bautista so tough. He can pull the ball for a home run or extra bases, or he can use the right center field gap for extra bases.
What makes the Blue Jays so tough is they're good 1 through 9. A 2-out double, all of a sudden Tulowitzki can tie it up with 1 swing of the bat. Tulo's got 2 homers so far this spring. He and Bautista went deep on Friday. Jose hit a 3-run home run. Tulowitzki hit a solo shot. Both were really smoked the left.
No doubt about it. The outfielders didn't even move. They were hit so far.
The one thing that Brooke Jacoby always talks about is how well these hitters hit with the combination of hitters in the lineup. There's such an impact on the pitcher's mind. You see Bautista, he gets a double. Now you got to deal with Tulowitzki, and then behind him is Colabello. It's a deep, effective lineup.
And I love today that both of these teams have basically sent out their opening day lineups. Hitters are starting to get their timing these last couple weeks of spring training. The pitchers are running into that fatigue factor. They're going a little bit longer. You're going to see a lot of runs scored, I think, over the last couple of weeks.
There's a drive to left field. 1 swing of the bat. It's a 2-2 game. Hello, Tulo.
You know, we were talking about the home runs that Bautista and Tulowitzki hit in their last game, where the outfielders didn't even move because the balls were hit so hard and they were hit so far. Well, you can chalk up another one as Tulowitzki hits the high fives into the dugout. Check this one out. Right over the middle of the plate, and he crushes it. He knows it. Watch the outfielders. Marte says, okay, that ball's gone. Not coming back. McCutchen didn't even move in center field.
Yeah, both of those hitters are home run hitters, and they know what a home run looks like.
And sounds like.
2-2 ball game, just like that. This is Chris Colabello. He's having another good spring. Colabello's 9 for 29, looking for his first homer of the spring. Troy Tulowitzki, the shortstop, with that home run, tied it up. He has 193 career home runs. He had just 5 last season with the Blue Jays in 41 games. Blue Jay fans have yet to see the real Troy Tulowitzki. It's a 2-hopper to short. Jordy Mercer throws across the diamond. The inning is over, but the thunder continues in this Blue Jay lineup. Troy Tulowitzki with a 2-run home run.
This program brought to you by Scott's Turf Builder Grass Seed with Water Smart Plus coating. Grows grass quicker and thicker. Guaranteed.
After a rainy Saturday here in Central Florida, the skies have cleared. The rain has moved out. It's another hot day. 26 degrees at the start of this ball game today. Blue Jays will have an off day tomorrow. The Pirates will have their off day on Tuesday. Everybody rained out over in this part of Florida. The Pirates were rained out. They got their work in simulated situations in their batting cages yesterday.
No off day tomorrow for the pitchers, though, for the Blue Jays, right? They've got to get their work in.
You always want to keep all the pitchers on.
Keep them on track.
This is Jody Mercer, the shortstop. Marco Estrada gave up a home run to Andrew McCutchen. He had walked 2 in that first inning. Looking to get a little more consistent with his command, and that'll come. As you remember, last year Estrada sprained his ankle and was set back and actually began the season in the pen.
In the pen, and he was fighting for one of those starting spots last year, and then with that injury, that opened the door for some of the younger players for the Blue Jays last season.
It's a lazy fly ball to right off the bat of the shortstop.
You know what? I'm not too worried about Marco Estrada. The guy's been around. He's been in the big leagues. He understands what he has to do. There's the postseason that Marco put up last year. Was outstanding. Remember Game 3 against the Texas Rangers? If he doesn't win that and pitch beautifully down there, Blue Jays season's over. And then the game against the Kansas City Royals.
I thought that was the best game in all of the postseason series pitched, given the circumstances. The Royals had scored 14 in the game the night before, and he came down and just stymied them, kept the Blue Jays' hopes alive, and pushed the series back to Kansas City. How difficult is it to cool off a red-hot team like the Royals in that situation?
Well, they're free and easy, right? They score 14 runs and making it look easy. How about the Texas Rangers? They win the first 2 games in Toronto. They're going home feeling pretty good about themselves. The Blue Jays needed a masterful start from Marco Estrada, and he came through for them. He was in one of those grooves. We showed that in the opening, his last 13 starts of the season. He was 6-2 with a 2.6 earned run average, and he pitched even better in the postseason.
When you try to break down Estrada's season from a year ago, he really impresses you analytically. You look at all the numbers. I mean, this is a situation where the analytics and your eyes give you the same impression. The numbers tell you that he held the opponents to a .203 opponent's batting average. That was the best in the American League, 4th best in baseball. And then you watch hitters flail at him and you say, okay, I see it. Boy, that's a good pitch.
Good pitch right there. That's the command that he had all of last season. I'll take it one step further, Buck. Even the balls that were put in play last year against Marco Estrada, the batting average on the balls in play were outstanding. 217. So even when they did hit the ball, they didn't do much with it.
Yeah.
Weak contact, lazy fly balls, little ground balls. So the numbers match up for what you and I watched last year.
Yeah, the batting average in balls in play eliminates the strikeouts. Anytime there's a ball put in play, that is then calculated into the BABIP, if you will. John Jaso hits one off the end of the bat. Good inning for Marco Estrada. 3 up, 3 down, no problem in the second.
Fans, it's the Elite 10 final from Victoria. Brad Gushu and Reed Carruthers go at it immediately following the ball game.
Beautiful day here in Florida. Everybody enjoying the sunshine. The Blue Jays have sold out every game the rest of the way during spring training. Fans are taking advantage. Boy, there were a lot of disappointed people at this ballpark yesterday, Pat.
They hung around, didn't they? All the way up until the end. They didn't want to leave after the game was called.
You know, something else that was interesting about yesterday was the Blue Jay players, how long they stayed after the game was called to take extra batting practice. And Brooke Jacoby and Eric Owens said, man, it was like a clinic down there. All the hitters sharing information.
You know, that goes in what we were talking about last inning about this team. They really enjoy being around each other. And if you don't fit in with them, you stick out like a sore thumb, don't you? If you're not one of the guys, and they want to bond and be a team and take all that information and just go out there and just play the game the right way.
I spoke about that specifically to several players today, and I thought Jose Bautista's answer was really interesting. 1-1 to Saunders. It's popped up off-speed pitch. Josh Harrison backpedaling into the outfield. But Bautista said, you know what? We're not here to be major leaguers. We're here to be champions. And we have a great team that wants to compete, not only on the field, but in the batting cage, during infield practice. He said defense is second nature. Balls hit you, you catch it. It's not a big deal. But we take pride in making our at-bats tough for the opposing pitcher.
That's why they rip on each other, if you will, around the batting cage. If a guy takes a bad swing and pops it into the netting, the guy will just rib him just a little bit and say, hey, what were you trying to do with that one?
They'll rib him a lot.
And it's great. I mean, that's the way it should be, right? You're around these guys so often, so long.
This is Russell Martin, a catcher who spent 2 years in a Pirate uniform. Martin's been a big part of the cultural change of this ball club.
You saw that last season, I think, at the beginning of spring training. It seemed a little bit more serious, a little bit more intense, and I think that was Russell Martin rubbing off on a lot of the players. Then when Donaldson and Tulowitzki and the rest of the gang got here last season, you can just feel it when you walk into the ballpark.
And now, of course, having the postseason experience as a team, they all want to get back and recapture that feeling once again. They feel like they have some unfinished business. Martin waits on the breaking ball. David Freese dives in, throws high to first. Jaso comes down on top of the bag, and Martin is retired. Nice play by David Freese over at third.
Well, that's why they signed him. Remember, Aramis Ramirez was picked up last season to finish off the season at third base. He has since retired. They had a void to fill over there at third base. They're hoping that David Freese is that guy. He's always been known as a pretty good glove and a clutch player. That time takes a hit away from Russell Martin.
Freese spent last season with the Angels. At 257 in Anaheim with 14 homers and 56 RBIs. This is Justin Smoke. Smoke was kind of giving it to the manager today and talking about the lineup. He goes, what, I'm in the 8th spot so I can bunt runners over to get Ryan Goins an RBI? This is popped up to left. Marte says he's got it, comes in as that wind's blowing it back toward the dirt. Good inning for A.J. Schuchel. He bounced back after a rocky first.
It's the 2015 AL East Division Championship pennant presented by Honda. Sunday, April 10th, the first 20,000 fans will receive a 2015 AL East Division Championship pennant. You'll see the Blue Jays and the Red Sox at 1:07 p.m. For more information, visit BlueJays.com for tickets.
It'll be a great weekend as the Blue Jays will open up their home portion of the schedule. Friday night, it'll be the Boston Red Sox opening things up on the home opener. And if all things stay the same, should be Marcus Stroman going to the mound, and maybe the possibility of a left-hander named David Price.
Wouldn't that be something?
As if opening night needed any more hype. This is Andrew McCutchen. McCutchen has been a terrific player since he's come into the big leagues. McCutchen made his debut with the Pirates on June 4th, 2009. And since that time, he leads all of baseball in hits. He's collected 1,154 hits. He is the hit leader since he's come to the big leagues.
So you say, well, why are you going to put him in the number 2 hole? Well, they want him to get some extra at-bats. He's going to see more pitches. He's going to hit in front of some of the power hitters. He could take his game to the next level, I think, hitting number 2. A lot like Josh Donaldson did, I think, when they moved him into the number 2 spot.
Well, you've got to have some supporting characters, obviously, in your lineup. You put him number 2, and if you don't have anybody to back him up, it's just going to be academic. But they've got balance. David Freese is there today, and you look at the lineup, potentially Marte can hit behind him, Polanco. They've got some options. McCutchen takes the leadoff walk. That's the 3rd walk issued by Marco Estrada, and that's going to be it for him. Pete Walker wanted Marco to have 3 ups. That means you get up, go out, pitch, come back, sit down, get up again, and he has had 3 ups today. So that's going to be it. Remember, this is his first official start of the spring. So his day is over, and he'll finish up. And he'll leave a runner at first base, nobody out. Arnold Leon, the righty, will come on to take over for Marco Estrada. 2-2. Taking over for Marco Estrada is Arnold Leon. This spring is making his 5th appearance of the spring. An interesting pickup from Oakland.
And bidding to make this team out of the bullpen. Here are his numbers: 4 games, 4 innings. He's only having up a couple of walks with a couple of strikeouts. They picked him up from Oakland in a trade back in January, adding some depth to the organization and possibly making the team out of spring training.
Leon last season pitched with the Oakland A's, got into a total of 19 games and an 0-2 record. ERA at 4.39. McCutchen, of course, can run. He had 11 steals and 16 attempts a year ago. This team is an interesting combination of speed and power. with McCutchen, Marte, and Polanco all being able to run.
And they will use that. Might not do it so much in spring training, maybe one here or there. You want to save your legs for the regular season, but they are probably the most athletic outfield in all of baseball.
Well, Clint Hurdle grew up in the Kansas City Royals organization in the late 70s, and he understands athleticism. They had it all over the place in Kansas City. On the ground, Tulowitzki takes a high hop quickly to Goins. Nice turn. Good double play by the shortstop, turn by Goins. Tulowitzki got a tricky hop right at the end.
That was one of the biggest improvements the Blue Jays made in the second half of the season. They started turning more double plays. Pitcher's best friend. You got a runner at first base, get this ball on the ground and let the middle infield do the rest. There's the tricky hop that you were talking about. He stays right with it, makes a good feed to Ryan Goins, and Goins does the rest, finishing it off, and Hunter Leon certainly appreciates that.
That's the 20th double play the Blue Jays have turned this spring. This is their 18th game. Starling Marte goes after the first pitch. We mentioned at the top of the show the Blue Jays have committed just 7 errors all spring long. They take a lot of pride in their defense, just like they do in their hitting.
They work at it. I was asking Donaldson the other day about that. I said, what do you guys do to make yourself better defensively? He says, you wouldn't believe the hours that we have spent on these back fields taking grounders off the bat of Louis Rivera or some of the other coaches.
Well, it's really easy for the coaching staff when the players are the leaders. When they say, let's go take some ground balls, let's turn some double plays, and this is a hard-working group. Leon ahead of Marte, 1-2. He waves at it and stays alive with the foul tip.
It's amazing if you put a little extra work in things, how you're going to make yourself better.
Isn't that interesting? No matter what sport it is, you heard the phrase, it's amazing how much better I get when I work at it. Another 1-2 pitch. Upstairs. Leon is 27 years old. He is from Culiacan, Sinaloa, Mexico. Same state as Roberto Osuna. There's a slow breaking ball tapped foul. Like Osuna, Leon pitched in the Mexican Professional League. He pitched as a 17-year-old for Saltillo. Made 4 appearances, and he was signed out of that Mexican League by the Oakland Athletics as an international free agent. Chopper, Tulowitzki's got to take it on a tough hop. No time to throw out Marte. It'll be an infield base hit for Starling Marte. It was a pretty good at bat by Marte.
He waved at that breaking ball early in the count. I'm sure he hasn't faced Leon a whole lot in his career, so he doesn't know a lot about it. Then he started to cut his swing down. Leon's got good stuff. That time the sinker beats it right into the ground, and Tulowitzki does the wise thing and just holds on to it. He wasn't going to get Marte over at first base. The speed shows up again. Remember, it was Marte at first base that forced Tulowitzki to throw the ball across the infield in the first inning to get an out.
This might be a running situation for Marte at first. Ball gets away from Leon, slipped out of his hand. Gregory Polanco, 6'5". He has got a terrific frame. Weighs 230.
Waiting on the power. They think that this guy's going to be good for 20 to 25 home runs. Had a knee problem last year, the back knee, where he just really couldn't push off and create bat speed. So you see the home run numbers, just 9 home runs. A guy this big should hit 20.
Yeah, and he stayed in the lineup. It wasn't as if it was a injury that knocked him out of the lineup, but you're right. If you don't have your foundation, you can't really drive the ball. 1 out. Gloved by Goins. There's that defense. He takes a hit away from Polanco. The Blue Jays have shown their power, and they're flashing the leather. Double play and a fine defensive play by Ryan Goins.
Ladies and gentlemen, if we're in section 109.
NBA fans, Steph Curry and the Warriors continue their climb to greatness as they take on Canadian Andrew Wiggins and the young gun Timberwolves. That's tomorrow only on Sportsnet 1. Buck.
Thank you very much, Hazel. Beautiful afternoon at the old ballpark. A lot of people down on spring break, and the ballpark has been crowded because of that. New pitcher into the ball game is 6'4" Archimedes Caminero.
And 245 pounds, Archimedes Caminero really got his first taste of big leagues, extended big league experience last season. 73 games, he averaged a strikeout an inning, an excellent earned run average, and a 5-1 record coming out of the bullpen. Throws very hard.
Ryan Goins will face Caminero, and he beats it on the ground. Harrison will flip to first. Pitch one out from Caminero. Caminero making his 5th appearance of the spring, and it has been a rough road so far this spring. He's given up 11 hits in 4 1/3 innings.
Glad he has something to fall back on. Last year's numbers in the big leagues were very good. Pirates have a very good bullpen.
Pirates last year, 267 out of their bullpen. That was the best in the major leagues. They've got some depth anchored by Mark Melanson, their closer.
Tony Watson had a big season for him last year, the left-hander. So did this guy. Caminero had a very fine season.
Caminero did a terrific job coming in as a rookie. 73 relief appearances, most by a rookie pitcher in the National League last year. He's not young. He's 28 years old. And last year was his first season in the Pirates organization. He had played his entire career from 2005 to 2014 with Miami. To Hopper to the shortstop. Jody Mercer unloads in a hurry. Kevin Pillar bounces out. 2 ground ball outs for Caminero.
You can see why he has been successful. The fastball's got some movement on it, some sink to it. And he will get his share of ground ball outs.
Josh Donaldson.
Mentioned the rest of that bullpen. Jed Hughes also a big part of that bullpen, but Mark Melanson, the closer, boy, he really was a late bloomer. He kind of bounced around. Nobody really knew how to use him, and his career has taken off. It's not unusual that pitchers have turnaround stints with the Pirates. They've got a terrific pitching coach.
Ray Searage has done a masterful job with a lot of these pitchers that come over there. Francisco Liriano comes to mind. Jay Happ last season. A.J. Burnett, who has since retired, went over there. They all had great seasons with him.
Ray Searage is in his 6th season as the pitching coach. This is Josh Donaldson. Takes one upstairs. It's 1-2. Donaldson struck out his first time up. Sharply hit to Hopper. This time to Mercer again. 3 ground ball outs for Caminero here in the 3rd. We'll move to the 4th. It's a 2-2 game. Ball game here in Dunedin, Florida. Let's check in with Hazel May.
Buck, we see Gavin Floyd there warming up, and pitching coach Pete Walker admitted to me that he didn't know a whole lot about Floyd coming in. Of course, he's watched them pitch against the Jays in the past and on video. He said his first impressions of the veteran right-hander, quote, "This guy is a horse." Yes, I said it. This guy is a horse. He said he's had limited innings the last few years because of injuries, and right now looks awfully strong. The ball's coming out of his hand really well. Certainly there is a question of endurance and where he can be over the course of a full season, but early on the indications are, Buck, he's strong, ready, and anxious to make his fair share of starts this season.
Yeah, he's in that competition we've talked about, Hazel, the 4 pitchers for that final spot in the rotation. That's a cutter that Harrison chases. It's a ball on the strike. Josh Harrison thrown out by Troy Tulowitzki on a good play back in the 1st. This ball is hit to left field. Easy play from Michael Saunders. 1 down for Gavin Floyd. Gavin Floyd, 33 years old. He was a former first-round pick of the Philadelphia Phillies, the 4th pick overall in 2001. Joe Mauer went first, Mark Pryor, DeJuan Brazelton of the Rays, and then Gavin Floyd.
Well, there's no question. Gavin Floyd's got very good stuff. He has just had so many injuries in his career, especially over the last 2 years when he was with the Cleveland Indians, the broken elbow. Awful.
He fractured his elbow in 2015 and 2014. Michael Morris drives one up the middle, gets past Goins into center. Gavin Floyd had a hip injury in September of 2009, shoulder soreness in 2010. He had Tommy John surgery in May of 2013, and then he missed the first month of the season in 2014 because he was coming back from Tommy John. And then he fractured his elbow in the 7th inning on June 19th of 2014, pitching in a game against the Nationals. Jordy Mercer jumps on the first pitch. These Pirates are hitting like they've got early dinner reservations tonight.
They want to get that fastball. The first one they hit, it was the Electronon ball. bone in Gavin Floyd's elbow that he broke. And that basically, Buck, is the end of the elbow tip of the elbow that he fractured, the olecranon.
Thank you for saying that. He broke his elbow.
Not once.
Twice.
But twice.
Yeah. You know, the real ironic aspect of that is he is playing with a teammate that did the same thing. Steve Dellenbach suffered the same injury. And together they have 17 screws in their collective elbows.
And wires and plates.
Still pitching in the big leagues.
Still pitching.
One out, the catcher Chris Stewart. Blue Jays had a pickoff play on it first. Jordy Mercer with the runner at second had a big lead. Colabella broke in behind him, and the ball was fouled out of play. These are the days where you like to try those things because you're playing against a National League team. Not going to see him during the regular season.
You're not going to see him. Funny, you do that in spring training. You put all the pickoff plays on and you work on them and you do all that. Then the season starts and you never do it.
Forget about it. Little looper into right. Bautista got a good read. Makes a nice play. Moore slides back in safely ahead of the throw. 2 down now.
Well, Gavin Floyd has had a very good spring. He has come in. He has filled up the strike zone with his fastball. He's got a very good curveball. He's always been known to have a very good curveball. Cutting the ball just a little bit more. These are the kind of stories you hear about this time of the year, right? In spring training, when you guys coming back from injuries like that and they have good springs and they get their career back on track.
Floyd has allowed 2 hits here, just 7 for the spring. This is his 4th game. He's made 2 starts. Of course, there are a lot of discussion about that last spot in the rotation, and I characterize it. I don't want to say it's the 5th spot because I think it depends on who wins that job. It's just the 5th pitcher to round out the rotation, and according to who it is, then they will determine how they're slotted.
Gibby said today, he says we're going to do what's best for the team. Asked him what he wanted to see in that last pitcher that they choose. Somebody who's going to give us consistent innings. You don't want to put a guy in the starting rotation who's good one time, bad for a couple of starts, then decent for a couple of starts, and then has a really bad one. He says, just give me some consistency, give me some innings. Because with our offense and our very good bullpen, you don't need a whole lot.
Upstairs, John Jaso in the leadoff spot. Walked to start the game. Scored on the McCutchen home run. Then he grounded back to the pitcher in the 2nd. Pirates have out-hit the Blue Jays 5-2, but the Blue Jays with a 2-run home run. And Jaso walks for a 2nd time. That's his MO. He'll get on base for you. And now, here's how that plays out. The number 2 hitter coming to the plate with the bases loaded.
Boy, does it ever. This is exactly what the Pirates are thinking about when they're trying to construct their lineup. Where do all the pieces fit together when we go through the inning? And they're really, the number 1 guy is connected to the number 2 guy, who's connected to the 3, 4, all the way on down the line. What is the best fit? And just like that, you get Jaso with his high on-base percentage in his career. I believe it's something like 380. You get him to walk. Now you bring the best hitter to the plate with the bases loaded.
Well, when the Blue Jays, when the Pirates lost Pedro Alvarez, they lost 27 home runs. Neil Walker hit 16. They're both gone. So they're going to have to figure out how to maximize Andrew McCutchen's at-bats. You got a chance here with the bases loaded. Floyd from the windup. Big swing and a miss on that cutter. Gavin Floyd for his career is 72-72 in 196 starts. His career ERA 4.38.
Always had that good curveball. And there it was on display right there as McCutchen Waves had it.
Russell Martin trying to work out of this bases loaded jam with Gavin Floyd. Good block by Martin.
Martin does such a good job. He's so quick on his feet. Watch him shift, turn the glove over. Keep that thing in front of him. Looks like he might have caught that one off the meat hand a little bit.
The perils of spring training. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Breaking ball down and away. Good breaking ball, but McCutchen wouldn't chase.
He threw it in a good spot. Off the plate. Down and away.
The Pirates hit 4 grand slams during the regular season a year ago. Bouncing ball up the middle. Goins from the shortstop side of second. Again, the defense bailing out the Blue Jays pitchers. Nice play from Goins. Ends the top of the 4th.
This program brought to you by Scott's Turf Builder Grass Seed with Water Smart Plus coating. Grows grass quicker and thicker, guaranteed.
Beautiful Sunday afternoon here in Florida. People enjoying the sun because they couldn't get tickets to the ball game. The place was sold out once again. So, as a good alternative, they went to the beach. Jose Bautista had a double to right center his first time up. Well, you start looking into the numbers for Bautista, and he has been a remarkable producer over the last 6 years. He's among the leaders in all the important offensive categories. We showed you earlier, since 2010, no one has hit as many home runs as Bautista, 227. He's 28 ahead of number 2, Miguel Cabrera. Pops this one up out of play. In the RBI department, Bautista is 5th in all of baseball. 582 ribbies over the last 6 years. Cabrera leads in that department with 692, but Cabrera has played 70 more games than Bautista. But you look at the combination of Edwin Encarnacion and Jose Bautista, they're as good as any duo of hitters in baseball.
And they are so fun to watch, aren't they?
That's off the end of the bat. Still driven to the alley in left field. Bautista drove it, but Marte runs it down.
We are playing the Pittsburgh Pirates, and I think it was the Pittsburgh Pirates. Someone was asleep at the wheel when they got together with the Blue Jays on that trade, because that's where Jose came from.
How about that? He was originally signed by the Pirates and bounced around, got a chance to play a little bit in Pittsburgh as their everyday third baseman, and they made the determination that he wasn't going to pan out. Good news for the Blue Jays.
Yeah. And you see that often in baseball, don't you, where a player is in one organization and it's just not working out for him. And he gets traded to a new surrounding, maybe hears a different message, maybe he gets more of an opportunity, and he blossoms into a superstar.
Troy Tulowitzki. Home run cut. Tulo homered in the first. After Bautista doubled with 2 outs, Tulowitzki sent one deep over the wall in left. His 3rd home run of the spring.
Looks like he's ready to start the season, doesn't he? Locked in.
Tell you what, I think people are going to get a better idea of exactly what Tulowitzki can do for a full season. They mentioned last year just 41 games, including missing time with that shoulder injury. He and Kevin Pillar collided in Yankee Stadium, and he was knocked to the disabled list. It wasn't until just before the playoffs that he even got back.
And you and I talked to him when he got back. I think it was down in Tampa, and he said, I'm sore. I'm really sore. It's really hard to swing the bat. Remember that broken back muscle or
shoulder blade. Yep.
Shoulder blade. He was sore, but he knew he had to be in the lineup. He had to play a very important position at shortstop. Just did not have the pop in that bat that we saw.
Good pitch away from Tulowitzki. He strikes out. Caminero has retired all 5 he has faced since coming into the game.
He's got a good arm. We mentioned his numbers last inning. Watch this one take a left-hand turn on Tulo. Swings right over the top of it. He averages a strikeout an inning for his big league career.
And you can see why. He's got a good fastball and a late breaking ball. Chris Colabello grounded out to shortstop his first time up. Colabello has 9 hits so far this spring. Checking with Bob Davidson to make sure that ball was on the plate. That ball got in on him a bit. It's lifted into center field. McCutcheon is there. A couple of good innings for Caminero.
Rogers Hometown Hockey with Ron McLean stops in Calgary. We'll showcase Lanny McDonald, Jim Poplinski, Brett the Hitman Hart, and a live performance by country star Gord Bamford. Plus, the Flames versus the Canadiens. That's tonight at 6:30 Eastern on Sportsnet.
Make sure you check it out. Hockey action later on tonight after this ball game. We're down here in Dunedin, Florida. It's a hot Sunday afternoon, 26 degrees at the start of play. Gavin Floyd working his second inning. Floyd came into the ball game in relief of Marco Estrada and Arnold Leon. Estrada went 2+ about it. Leon pitched an inning, and now Gavin Floyd.
Probably good for 3, maybe 4 innings today.
Yeah, I would think so. He was supposed to start yesterday, and that was scrubbed because of the rain.
This turn around spring training, they're up to around 75 pitches. So depending on how many he takes per inning, that could be 3 to 4 innings.
Gavin Floyd grew up in Baltimore, Mount St. Joseph High School in Baltimore, and that's the same high school Mark Teixeira went to. The irony of that is the Floyds lived across the street from the Teixeiras. And Mark Teixeira was taken 5th behind Gavin Floyd in the 2001 draft.
Bet you they had a great stickball game out in the street.
Good pickup game. Of course, Gavin Floyd's brother Mike, older and a teammate of Teixeira's, signed with the Phillies too. He was an outfielder. So yeah, you can bet those street hockey games and baseball games are pretty competitive.
Pretty good fastball right there. That's a competitive pitch. You got 2 strikes. He tried to go down and away a couple of times with the curveball, and elevates that fastball for his first strikeout.
Starling Marte wants to take a look at a pitch from Floyd. Takes his strike. Marte is 2 for 2 so far. Single to the left and had an infield hit. A chopper to short. Pulls this one. Tulowitzki gloves it. Marte can run. He's 3 for 3. Good play by Tulowitzki. Kept it on the infield, but Marte simply outran his throw to first.
You know, he has had 3 at-bats, and in all 3 at-bats, we have seen the element of his speed and what it does to the lineup. You mentioned the infield hit, and then the play at second base. Well, he's going to leg this one out. Tulowitzki does everything he can to try and get him out, but he just runs too well. He gets up quickly. It's a short hop over at the other side. A nice stretch by Colabello, but he's just too fast.
11 hits on the spring for Marte now. He's 3 for 3. This will bring up Gregory Polanco with 1. Blue Jays turned a double play back in the 3rd. But Freese grounded into a double play. Marte forgot his wrist guard. Runners will use that to protect that hand, and then slides around the infield. So he's set at first now. Right fielder Gregory Polanco 0 for 2. Had a hit taken away by Goins his last time up. Chops this one, bounces over Colabello. Goins from behind the bag and makes a terrific play. Gavin Floyd, the pitcher, broke on contact. Colabello had no play. The ball bounced over his head. Goins never gave up on it. Stayed with it.
He stayed with it. He never gave up. He just kept coming and coming. A lot of times you'll get over there and you won't have a play. He just would not give up. And then to throw on the line like that and get it to the pitcher early enough where they don't collide with the runner, that's a sensational play.
You can see the veteran Russell Martin and Colabello both going to the mound to help Gavin Floyd catch his breath after that sprint to first base. Pat, I don't know about you, but I've got 5 red stars in the book already today on defense for the Blue Jays.
That's as many as I have. 2 in the first inning, 1 last inning, 1 right there, 1 in the 3rd. The only inning, the 1-2-3 inning in the 2nd, where we don't have a great play by the Blue Jays.
It's a 3-star day already for Ryan Goins at second. 2 outs. There's the pickoff to second, and that might have been part of that visit to the mound. While he was out there visiting with Gavin Floyd, he passed it on to Goins. Hey, we're going to try a pickoff.
He's the best throwing catcher in the American League last year. Why not keep Marte a little bit closer to the bag, just in case there's a base hit into the outfield? Give your outfielders a chance to throw them out.
Boy, that hard breaking ball has been effective for Floyd today.
It looks like a fastball coming into the hitter, and then it just dips underneath the bat. That's what you're looking for from that cutter.
Ball is hit high in the air to center field. Pilar's got plenty of room. Makes the catch, and Gavin Floyd with another good inning. Defense flashing the leather here this afternoon in Florida.
Okay, I'm on the first base for number 6.
The Sportsnet documentary team is producing 3 half-hour shows featuring Roberto Osuna, Marcus Stroman, and Mark Shapiro. This offseason, Stephen Brunt had exclusive access to Roberto in his hometown of Sinaloa, Mexico. Learn how Osuna avoided the incredible danger that surrounded him growing up and how he defied the odds by becoming a major part of the Blue Jays pitching staff at age 20. Roberto Osuna, Sinaloa to the Show premieres Saturday, April 2nd at 4 p.m. only on Sportsnet. Bye.
Thank you very much, Hazel. It's a great opportunity to learn a little bit more about the path to the major leagues for Roberto Osuna. His father, Roberto Sr., pitched 22 years in the Mexican Professional League, and his uncle Antonio pitched 11 years in the major leagues, including some time with the Dodgers. New pitcher for Pittsburgh, Corey Lupke.
And the happiest guy in the ballpark in this pitching change, Michael Saunders. Just saying that. He had that hard throwing right-hander he got to deal with. Now he's got to deal with the lefty as they make the pitching change. Lupke's got a very good breaking ball, and I'm sure we'll see it here against Michael.
Lupke is 31 years old. Originally drafted by the San Diego Padres. After the big leagues with San Diego in 2010.
Well, I went over there.
You talk about making it against the odds. Lupke was a 63rd round pick in 2007. They don't even have 63 rounds anymore. Saunders pulls it on the ground. The Pirates were in the shift. That's Harrison, the second baseman, from the outfield, throwing them out. Lupke, the third Pirate pitcher to work here this afternoon. It's a 2-2 ball game in the bottom of the fifth. Russell Martin, the catcher, will step in. Martin was robbed of a base hit by David Freese back in the second. Freese dove to his left, speared a ground ball, and threw Martin out. Two years with the Pirates, and he was part of the postseason run in 2014. That's been Russell's M.O. Drives this one to the alley in right center, and that's going to get past Polanco all the way to the wall. Russell Martin's digging for second. He'll slide in safely with a one-out double. for Martin. That's his first double of the spring, just his fourth hit.
Came into the ball game hitting 167 with a home run and an RBI, like the Bautista double in the first inning. Same type of swing right here from Martin. Stays inside the ball, doesn't try and go around it and yank it to left field. Stays right with it and splits Polanco and McCutcheon at center field for extra bases.
Now, this lineup, we talked about it earlier in the ballgame. You got 7, 8, 9. You've got Martin, Smoke, and Goins. And Goins hitting ninth at 250 last season. The Blue Jays have a potent lineup. Smoke gets tied up, that pitch down and in. Got it. Blue Jays offensively the best in baseball a year ago, and if you add things up, you expect them to be even better this year.
Well, they'll have a full season of Troy Tulowitzki, right? That certainly helps. I think Kevin Pillar and Ryan Goins are better hitters from what they went through last season, getting a first chance of playing every single day.
The Blue Jays scored 5.5 runs a game. That was first in the American League. They hit 232 home runs, also number 1. Had the best OPS and the best walk total in the American League. And you're right. You figure it's going to be better. Blue Jays fell a home run shy of having 3 40 home run hitters. Edwin Encarnacion, because of injuries, fell a home run short of that 40 home run plateau.
You mentioned Blue Jays being number 1 in so many offensive categories: on-base percentage, slugging, walks, home runs, doubles. They were also number 1 in sacrifice flies, so they were good situational hitters also last year. They weren't just up there swinging hard once they got in there. And we've talked over the last couple of days about how strong the Blue Jays offense is from top to bottom. There's some of the numbers right there, home runs at the AL rank for the Blue Jays. One of the things that stood out when I looked at that, do you know how many intentional base on balls the Blue Jays had last year? 12 all season long. That shows the depth in the power from top to bottom.
Yeah, when you think about it, who are you going to walk? Well, I'm going to walk this guy to get to the next one. Not a good idea. Ryan Goins batting with 2 outs, and this is an area he really improved upon once he became an everyday player second half of the season, hitting against lefty pitching.
Started going the other way, if you remember. Just started staying back just a little bit longer. His timing was so good. Shocked a little bit that the defense is playing him to pull against the left-hander.
They're playing him straight away in the outfield to pull on the infield, and Goins has really shown a tendency to drive the ball to the opposite way, especially against lefty pitching.
Especially against the lefties. He wants to stay on that breaking ball just a little bit longer.
Three and 0. Pillar lurks on deck. You know, too, what happens when you get some regular at-bats like Goins? You don't chase borderline pitches. When you're an extra player, you get in there saying, well, I got to do something so I can play tomorrow.
Get a little bit anxious, start swinging at pitches off the plate.
You got the green light, drills it to center. McCutcheon is back. This ball's off the wall. Martin's coming around third. He's going to score. How about that? You talk about a potent lineup. You give your number 9 hitter the green light, 3 and 0.
Yeah, kudos to John Gibbons doing that. This is the perfect time to do it. You got a tough lefty out on that mound. You got a runner in scoring position. Why take? Let him swing away. And he rewards him with a ball off the wall in center field. Look at that. Go get it.
Boy, Ryan is playing with so much confidence.
You can just tell it in the way he carries himself out on the field, and that swing right there shows it. He juiced that ball to center field.
Top of the order, Kevin Pillar. Inside corner for his strike. Pillar's gone 0 for 2 to start the game. Well-placed pitch inside as Lupke jumps ahead 0-2.
He's used that slider, which is his best pitch, a swing and miss pitch, to strike out Smoke. I might see it again right here.
Covers that inside pitch, protecting the plate with 2 strikes. We have talked about the Blue Jays. Their power numbers have been down to this point in the spring, but their 4 hits today, they're all extra base hits. A home run and 3 doubles. There's been a lot of talk about Pilar. Is he worthy of being the leadoff hitter in this lineup, Ben? What's your opinion?
I think as I look up and down the lineup, he's the guy for me. You know, he's not your classic leadoff hitter where you see a lot of pitches and you're a punch and Judy hitter, but he did it in the minor leagues. I think he will grow as a hitter if he becomes the leadoff hitter for John Gibbons' team. He says he did it in the minors. He feels comfortable. I'm not going to change anything. I'm just going to go up there, continue to do what I'm doing. And his numbers in the minor leagues speak that there's more to him, his game offensively.
Spent 4 seasons in the minor leagues and hit .322 over those 4 seasons. He had 1,788 at-bats. I mean, that's a good measure of his skills. He hit .322 and had an on-base percentage of .364.
And he's looked good for me. Very compact at the plate in the swing.
Pops this one up. It's playable. Third baseman David Freese in on the grass, and the ball almost gets away from him. He had the spirit right over his shoulder. Ryan Goins with an RBI double. Blue Jays take a 3-2 lead.
Get closer to the Blue Jays with big reads, breaking news, scores, and live game streaming all on the Sportsnet app. Download the free app today.
Thank you, Hazel. We move to the top half of the 6th inning. Blue Jays lead it 3-2, and we're pleased to be joined now by the skipper of the Toronto Blue Jays, John Gibbons. John, thanks for joining us today.
Hey, boys, it's like old times, huh? Good times.
It is good times indeed. And first and foremost, Marco Estrada made his first official start. What did you take from his start?
Well, I mean, he got his work into it. You know, that first inning was a little bit rough. But he's one of those command and controls guys, and that usually comes last. You know, it's his first appearance here in an A game, and he really couldn't locate anything, but he survived that first inning. I thought he was much better the second inning. Then, but he used so many pitches up that he only lasted one hitter that third. So, but he's on track. We saw him so good last year. He's just got to fine-tune some things, and he's going to be just fine.
Where does he go from here, and do you anticipate him, making the team out of spring training? Is he going to be okay?
Who, Marco? Oh, yeah.
Okay. I mean, the back problem's not going to hold him back.
No. I thought you meant I forgot about that back problem. He did sign a 2-year deal, so I think he's pretty much a lock.
But he's not going to. You think he'll be on time to make his first start whenever that's?
Yeah, guys. Yeah, that really his back's kind of eliminated from the equation now. We don't need to talk about that anymore.
Gavin Floyd's having another good outing today. What has impressed you about getting your first look at Gavin Floyd as a pitcher on your team?
I'll tell you what, Buck. I'm impressed that his arm's still as strong as it is. He's had the injury bug got him, and then he's been struggling for the last couple of years. Stay on the field, and so from day one here in his bullpen sessions, I thought, damn, his arm still looks pretty damn good, and he's thrown well this spring. So he's really a good pickup for us. He's competing for that 5th job as well, and if he makes that, great. If he doesn't, he's going to be very valuable to us out of the pen as well.
John, is there a time frame when you feel like, as a manager, you have to identify who's going to fill out the rotation and who's going to be your closer?
Buck, I'd like to. I mean, you know how all this work. You'd like to be able to say this day or that, but really they're also pitching so well that it might come down to the wire. We're starting to form our opinions a little bit about who's doing what role. But I don't think we want to cut anybody short. And you know how the injury bug gets too, and you don't want to back anybody off necessarily too early, and then you need to crank them back up, that kind of thing. But it's really a good problem to have. But it's we have the personnel to make the right decisions. We just got to make sure we make the right ones.
When you are making those decisions and you're sitting in those meetings, what kind of things do you formulate? What kind of ideas do you toss back and forth?
Well, really, it's they've all looked so good this spring that we could really run with anybody necessarily. Let's talk about the 5th spot. But it really come down to, I think, what makes the team the strongest, and we'll go that direction. Another decision we have to make about it is late inning bullpen. How we're going to set that up, and really that'll come down to too, the versatility of each individual and how it makes us stronger. So it's not like we're searching for guys. We got plenty of guys to do certain jobs. We just got to figure out what those jobs are.
Gavin Floyd with a quick inning. John Gibbons, thanks for your time.
Boys, always a pleasure.
All right, pal.
Bye-bye.
3 up, 3 down for Floyd. He's looked good in his 3 innings of work.
Blue Jays fans, if you're catching a game in the U.S., you can share all your experiences as they happen with friends and fans back home. With Roam Like Home from Rogers, you can use your phone exactly like you do at home, starting at $5 a day in the U.S. Go to Rogers.com/RoamLikeHome for details.
Lots of Blue Jay fans who made their way down from Canada. I'm sure they're taking advantage of that great opportunity from Rogers. This is a new pitcher. It'll be the 4th pitcher for Pittsburgh here this afternoon. Rob Scahill made 28 appearances last year for the Pirates.
And good numbers again out of that bullpen for the Pittsburgh Pirates. 264 earned run average. He only threw 30 2/3 innings. He was originally a 8th-round draft pick of the Rockies back in 2009 from Bradley University. He's got a good arm also out of that bullpen. Well, so many, Buck, pitchers nowadays coming out of that bullpen, they're throwing in the high 90s, not the mid 90s, the high 90s. We saw Archimedes Caminero touch 98 this afternoon, and Scahill's another one who touches 97.
It's a real challenge for hitters now because there are so many great arms coming out of the bullpen. Donaldson goes out for the first pitch and hits it high in the air. Should be an easy play for McCutcheon. It is. One pitch, one out here in the bottom of the 6th. New third baseman defensively at third for the Pirates is Jason Rogers. He takes over for the starter, David Freese. Pat mentioned Scahill. He's 29 years old. He came from Colorado in November of 2014. Minor league deal. Set career highs in wins, appearances, strikeouts in his first year with the Pirates. He slipped on the mound and threw that one in the dirt. Jose Bautista's had another good day at the plate. Bautista, he didn't start spring training till a couple weeks into it. He doesn't have a lot of at-bats. He has gone 1 for 2 and scored a run this afternoon. What do you look for from Bautista to give you an idea that he's getting close to being ready?
Well, I think his first at-bat was a prime example that he's getting ready. Remember, he drove that ball to right field for a double. Got it over the head of the center fielder, McCutcheon, as he grounds out this time. Then his next time up, you remember he rolled over a ball and drove it out in the left center field. When he's in the middle of the diamond, keeping that front shoulder closed, you know good things are going to start happening for him.
Yeah, that's a good place to start, middle of the diamond, and he's shaking his head in that last ground out. But, boy, that ball he drove to right center, and then he hit that ball to left, hit it with authority. I think that's what hitters are looking for, just good at-bats.
Good at-bats, solid contact, not worrying too much about results right now. Players nowadays, they come into spring training, they are ready to go.
Troy Tulowitzki chops on first pitch. Easy inning for Rob Scahill. 3 up, 3 down, 3 quick outs.
Okay, fans, in light of recent events, I'm going to throw
Jay's Shop is Canada's largest and only official team shop for your Toronto Blue Jays. New 2016 authentic jersey with 40th season sleeve patch available now. Get yours today at jshop.ca. Bob.
Thank you very much, Hazel. We are in the 7th inning, and with that we get a lot of defensive changes. Darwin Barney has come off the bench to take over at second base. Ryan Goins moves from second to short. Andy Burns takes over at third for Josh Donaldson. In the outfield, Daryl Siciliani takes over in center field for Kevin Pillar. And in right field, We got Junior Lake for Jose Bautista. This is the leadoff man, John Jaso. There's Junior Lake. He's had a good spring.
He's had a very good spring. He can play all 3 outfield positions. Swung the bat really well, too.
John Jaso has walked twice. He is officially 0 for 1. He grounded out in the second. Blue Jays have a 3-2 lead. We had a conversation with John Gibbons about Gavin Floyd. He said Gavin looks very strong. He likes the way the pitches are coming out of his hand. He's got good stuff. And Jaso walks for a 3rd time. That's what he does. Gets on base. Let's check in with Hazel May.
Buck Troy Tulowitzki just left the ball game, but earlier I asked Ryan Goins about picking up where he left off with Tulowitzki as his double play partner. He said towards the end of last season they really got a good feel for each other, knowing how the other likes the ball over the bag and how they wanted to communicate. And just adding to your earlier conversation on team chemistry, Goins said he made it a point to get to know Tulo off the field this winter. He visited him at his home and the two spent a lot of time texting back and forth. Goins said when you're comfortable with your DP partner, there's no awkwardness. It's easy to go out there, relax, and have some fun. Buck.
Well, Hazel, that has been a ongoing theme we have talked about a lot with this ball club, the chemistry of this team and how well they get along. And there was a much publicized trip to Las Vegas for a mixed martial arts fight. They all went together, they met there, and you know, that's how you really develop as a team. And Troy Tulowitzki has impacted other infielders since he's come here. They've really felt his presence.
Yeah, he certainly has. You started to see it last year when Tulowitzki came over here. He and Donaldson started hanging out just a little bit more, and Donaldson and Tulowitzki will go on the backfields here in spring training, and they'll start talking about ways that they can make themselves better, playing off of each other. And Josh was telling me the other day that Tulowitzki has really helped him on balls to Josh's left, where his give hand, if you will. He says, I've always been very strong with my backhand, but to the left side, I feel like I'm getting better because Tulowitzki's shown me a few things that soften up my hands just a little bit so I can field that hard ground ball. One other thing, Buck, I saw last year when Tulowitzki came over and Goins, Ryan started playing every day at second base, you can see the synergy between the two of them, and you need that around the bag. Hazel was just talking about, well, I know I'm going to be there. Well, where do you like the ball on these certain type of hits? Slow ball, man on first base, all of that. You started to see that coming together. Conversely, you saw Goins become a more confident player in the way he played on the field.
McCutchen struck out on that high fastball. This is Jason Rogers getting his first at bat. He took over for David Freese defensively at third base. Well, you talk about confidence, and when you think about it, confidence breeds success. And now Goins and Pilar, they're two of the boys.
Yes.
You know, last year they came in and they were untested, and Pilar started in left, Goins started in minors, and you go, okay, now they're part of the group.
What's the hardest thing for a ball player when he gets to the major leagues that he has to overcome? Do I belong? And once you have mastered that, and once you feel like, hey, I can do this at this level, this is the best in the world, your game just takes off.
And what star players do is they make everybody feel like they're equal. And this group of veteran players from Bautista, Donaldson, Tulowitzki, Donaldson, they've all made Martin, they've all made the younger guys feel like they're an equal part of this team. That's popped up. Andy Burns, the third baseman, in for Donaldson, makes the catch.
You know, the worst thing that could happen to a young player is you come to the big leagues and you don't feel like you're part of the team. I don't know if you ever been in that situation. I haven't been in that situation, but you come to the big leagues and there's a clique of guys over here and there's a clique of guys over here. Where do I fit in? And then, well, I got to do this, and I want to get a base hit so I can be part of the team. You don't see that on this Blue Jays team at all.
Now, This is one of the best teams I've ever been around for making everybody feel equal. And you made a great point earlier. You know, they demand that you work at your trade. You're out here early, and Tulowitzki's out taking ground balls. He wants Goins and Barney and Burns and all the kids out here with him. Donaldson the same. If Bautista's in the outfield, he wants the young outfielders out there with him. They will make you work, but they will welcome you in to the group. Another good inning for Gavin Floyd. He is breezing through this Pirate lineup.
Are you a young professional interested in helping Jays Care Foundation go beyond the ballpark in 2016? Join the Jays Care Foundation Young Professionals roster. For more information, visit www.jayscare.com.
Back here in Florida, we have reached the bottom of the seventh inning. The Blue Jays have a 3-2 lead. They have been out-hit 6-4, but all 4 Blue Jay hits have been extra base hits. New pitcher is Curtis Parch, who was signed as a 6-year minor league free agent. Parch signing after spending last season in AAA Sacramento, a AAA ball club with the San Francisco Giants.
Another one of those big relievers that the Pirates seem to like. He's 6'4", 230 pounds. He's got a good arm. Also, hasn't translated into the big leagues. You see his numbers there in AAA last season. 47 innings for Parch, and he'll get a chance to face Chris Colabello.
Parch has spent parts of a couple of seasons in the big leagues with Cincinnati. Got into 14 games in 2013 and 6 games in 2014. Chris Colabello 0 for 2 to this point. So much for the over. First pitch swing, rips it into center field. Colabello had an 18-game hit streak last season, and he hit .326 against right-handed pitching.
I think he was sitting on this first pitch fastball. He gets one to his liking up in the strike zone. Bangs it right back to the middle.
Michael Saunders.
Fielder Michael Saunders has popped out and grounded out. Saunders came into this ball game 8 for 25. That's a .320 batting average. Pirates playing 3 fielders on the first base side of second. Michael Saunders is healthy. He's strong, anxious to resume his play in left field. Got into just 3 games a year ago with the Blue Jays because of that knee injury and subsequent surgery.
You know, hats off to him for trying to play through that. That was a tough injury, and it just never seemed to heal. last season. He had some torn cartilage and a bone bruise in his knee. So he played in his games last year. He never had his legs underneath him.
Bites that one off. Inside fastball at 92. You know, you make so much about conditioning and staying in good shape. If you're not healthy, you can't play. Andrew McCutchen talked about it last year. Said my legs just weren't right. I just didn't have that solid foundation underneath me to hit from. And his numbers kind of reflected that. Didn't really have that typical McCutchen season.
You know, we saw that a couple of years ago from Joey Votto when he had the knee injury, and for the Cincinnati Reds, he tried to come back a little bit too soon. He just lost his power. When you don't have that torque or that push off and those legs underneath you helping you to drive that ball into the outfield or over the fence, there's not much you can do.
Two balls and two strikes. Troy Tulowitzki homered in the first to answer an Andrew McCutchen 2-run home run in the top half of the first. Pirates have been shut out since. The Blue Jays got a RBI double from Ryan Goins in the fifth. And that's where we sit, 3-2. There's a base hit to right. One hop to Polanco. Colabello stops at second. Back-to-back singles to start the bottom of the seventh.
Got that swing started right there. Really wound up. It got the hands moving, and I was able to get the bat head out and yank it. Watch how his hands move before the pitch is thrown. It's like a starter getting that bat started, and he rips it in the right field for his first hit.
Number 55, Martin.
Seth Connor has come off the bench to run for Michael Saunders. He's up from the minor league camp. Blue Jays have called them 3 youngsters to help fill out the roster today. First and second, nobody out for the catcher. Russell Martin doubled and scored that run in the fifth. Russell doubled in the alley in right center. Another good at bat. Blue Jays have had some good at bats despite collecting just 4 hits.
I asked Brooke Jacoby about that today. I said, how's the offense doing? How are they getting ready? As you're starting to wind up spring training, he says, I get the sense and I get the feeling that the guys are starting to, you know, put their game plans together and bringing them into the ball game. You'll spend the first 10 days of spring training, you know, you might want to work on your right field stroke, or you might want to try something new. Feels like the guys are all starting to get the game face on, if you will.
Yeah, the coaches had that sense yesterday after the Blue Jays game was rained out. They were down in the batting cage, spent a lot of time working on things. And one thing that's happened, and you and I were new to this phenomenon, the hitters will take their cell phones down there and videotape their pals, and then they'll go in the locker room and talk about it. Pretty interesting. If they were to do that when I played, we'd have that little rack with the powder on it, and you'd have the flash and light it, and then it'd take you a couple days to get the pictures back.
Yeah, how about that? You'd send it in. Hey, when can I get that? But you're right, these guys nowadays, and that's the beauty of that they can coach themselves. You know, you got Eric Owens and you got Brooke Jacoby here, and you've got all the film that you want, but they talk about it. They talk about hitting. They talk about, well, what do you do in this situation as that one's up and in to Russell Martin ducks out of the way. I'll tell you what, if there was this much information, as you see this one more time, just under the chin of Martin as Parks lets that one go. If you had all this information, it could only help you as a hitter.
Especially when you're veteran hitters like these guys. Most of them have had experience in the big leagues. Martin pops it up, second baseman out. Right fielder coming in. Polanco calls him off. Boy, he ran a long way to make that catch on the pop-up. Also, Martin retired on the fly ball to right. So now with one out, Dominic Brown will get an at-bat. He will come on to pinch hit for Justin Smoke, who went 0 for 2 as the designated hitter.
Everybody clap your hands.
Dominic Brown getting his 26th at bat. He is 5 for 25, an even 200 batting average for the spring. He goes after the first pitch and hits a fly ball to left. Marte coming in is there. 2 down.
Blue Jays like what they see in Dominic Brown. He might get caught in a numbers game for this Blue Jays team.
Yeah, there are 2 outfielders without options, which means they have to be exposed to the rest of the league should they be sent down. So they have to pass through waivers. That would be Ezequiel Carrera and Junior Lake. And, you know, Dominic Brown's not on the roster, so it's difficult to figure that he can fit into this outfield the way it's constructed right now.
You know, you and I are not privy to all the information that goes into signing guys from other teams like a Dominic Brown. A lot of times nowadays they have players, they say, okay, I will sign with you, but by this certain date you got to let me know if I'm going to make the team or not. So if I'm not in your plans, you got to give me a chance to try to hook on with somebody else.
That's a very good point, and there may be some of those agreements in this camp. We're not privy to that information. Look out. That one got away from Parch. Runners a move up. The ball and a strike to Ryan Goins. This one's just a little bit outside.
As soon as this pitch was delivered by Parch, he looked right at his hands like it slipped off of his hands. There was a problem there. That was a pitch out.
Goins had the RBI double on a 3-0 count, hit it off the wall in center field over McCutcheon's head. Well, he's hitting with a lot of confidence. For Ryan, that was his second double of the spring. He now has 7 RBIs for the spring.
Made some adjustments last year to help him calm himself down at the plate. Puts that bat on his shoulder and then uses it as a timing mechanism when the pitcher's ready to go.
Slow breaking ball. You know what calms you down at the plate?
Hits.
Regular ABs.
Mm-hmm.
Once you understand that you're going to get 4 at-bats every day, all of a sudden it's not a challenge. But when you're an extra player and you think, well, man, if I get an at-bat tomorrow, I got to get a hit. And if I can hit a home run, that'd be real special. Hard to play that way.
Hey, anytime you start saying, I have to do this or I have to do that, too much pressure. Game's hard enough. Gibby was talking about that around the batting cage this morning about some of the young players, and he mentioned Ryan Goins and Kevin Pillar in particular. When they came up, they were swinging at everything that was thrown up there.
Full count. Del Siciliani is on deck behind Goins. Siciliani came into the game defensively in center field for Kevin Pillar. Calabelo's at third. Seth Connor, the pinch runner, is at second. Bowen strikes out. It might have been ball 4. Blue Jays leave a pair. We'll head to the 8th. They've got a 1-run lead.
Fans, don't forget the Honda Home Opener Contest. Post a photo or video of you showing your Blue Jays spirit along with the hashtag WinTBJOpener and tag @BlueJays to Twitter or Instagram. One lucky fan will receive 2 tickets to Honda Home Opener on Friday, April 8th versus Boston. Prize includes tickets, airfare, and hotel. Full contest rules for you at BlueJays.com/homeopener.
New catcher for the Blue Jays, taking over behind the plate, is Tony Sanchez. Casey Kotchman takes over for Colabello at first. Gio Meyer is the new shortstop, and the new left fielder is Ezequiel Carrera. Gavin Floyd starting his 5th inning of work here this afternoon. Floyd came into the ballgame in the 4th. Floyd has allowed 3 hits, no runs, and struck out a pair. Another impressive outing for Gavin Floyd.
I've been very impressed with him. We all know about the breaking ball. He has thrown that for strikes. He has used his fastball very effectively and his cutter.
Off the end of the bat, Siciliani is there. Polanco is retired. He's 0 for 4 this afternoon. He was robbed of a couple of hits by Ryan Goins earlier in the game in the 3rd and the 5th. So he's got the 0 for. Another out for Gavin Floyd. Gavin Floyd had his best run in the majors with the Chicago White Sox. And he said he had a real good relationship with Mark Burley. Burley helped him a lot on the confidence aspect of things. And with the White Sox for 7 seasons, just really then start to run into injury after injury, and it really slowed his career down.
These are the kind of guys that you wished you could have seen them play in their younger years when they were healthy. Would have been a big winner. There was a reason he was drafted 4th overall in 2001. And you're seeing it this afternoon.
We talked about the draft that season. Joe Mauer, the catcher for the Twins, went first, and then the big right-hander from USC, Mark Pryor, went to the Cubs with the 2nd pick, and Dewan Brazelton never really developed. He was a big right-hander with the Tampa Bay Rays, and then Gavin Floyd. Floyd's best season was 2008 with the White Sox. He went 17-8 with a 384 earned run average and threw 200 innings for the only time in his career. Josh Harrison with a 2-2 count. Harrison's gone 0 for 3. Harrison was robbed of a base hit by Troy Tulowitzki in the first. It went to the hole, and Tulowitzki made a fine play to throw him out. Blue Jays defensively have really done a great job supporting their pitchers, something John Gibbons has gotten used to this spring. Jays have committed just 7 errors. This is their 18th game.
It's not just the infielders. The outfielders are getting in on the act, making some nice plays. Jose Bautista made one to end the first inning down the right field line. Pitching and defense, it'll win you a lot of ball games.
It's something that has made a return to the major leagues. The Kansas City Royals certainly enhanced that with their great defense, athletes all over the diamond. Blue Jays, of course, now with Martin, Tulowitzki, Goins, and Pilar up the middle. That's the backbone of a great defense. That hit Floyd and caroms into right field. So Josh Harrison is aboard. The one-out single.
That's a real good at bat by Josh Harrison right there. He was not going to give in to Gavin Floyd. Going to stay right with it. A bunch of curveballs. He tried a slider. That time he finally got a pitch he liked and hit it off his foot, and that probably will end his afternoon.
Pete Walker is out to check on Floyd, but before he got to the mound, he made a call to the bullpen. And Gavin Floyd has had a good outing today. Finishes up 4 1/3. He'll turn things over to the bullpen when we come back. Right under Chad Jenkins, a former first-round pick of the Blue Jays back in 2009, will make his 6th appearance of the spring.
Sinker Baller will come in here with a runner at first base and just 1 out. There are his numbers this spring. 5 games, it's a 25 earned run average. Not a big strikeout type of pitcher. He pitches to contact and gets a lot of ground balls when that sinker is working. And they need one right here.
Josh Harrison is at first. Blue Jays turned a double play in the 3rd. They've got a different infield here in the 8th. Mike Morris, there goes the runner. Ball is cut on, and Andy Burns makes the play from 3rd base. Morris grounds out to 3rd. Hairston goes to 2nd. Boy, he had a good jump.
Pretty intelligent play right there, I think, by the Pirates. They know that Jenkins got a good sinker and he'll throw his share of ground balls. So instead of running into a double play, they elect to start Josh Harrison over there at first base, and now he's standing in scoring position.
Jody Mercer, the shortstop. He pulls that sinker foul. That's the third base coach, Rick Sofel. Sophia, the third base coach for Clint Hurdle. Another good sinker, and Mercer's really tied up with that pitch.
You know, I saw Pete Walker the other day working with Chad Jenkins, and I haven't had a chance to talk about what they were doing in the bullpen, but it looks like Chad's staying on top of the ball just a little bit more. He would run into problems when he would get on the side of the baseball and his ball would flatten out. It looks like he's trying to stay on top of the ball just a little bit more and drive that sinker down in the strike zone.
We mentioned Jenkins was a former first-round pick. He has been taken off the roster. He's a non-roster invitee into the spring training camp. So he is trying to earn his keep and reprove his worth to the Blue Jays.
Former starter. If he did make this team, it would have to be out of the bullpen.
He's made 6 big league starts, and Mercer really gets jammed on that one. Strong throw from Burns. Jenkins comes in and gets 2 ground ball outs to end the top half of the 8th. It's a 1-run game as the Blue Jays go back the bottom half of the inning.
Blue Jays Spring Training Baseball is live with the MLB.com at-bat app. Stay connected all spring with radio broadcasts, video highlights, stats, news, and more. Download MLB.com at-bat, the #1 app for live baseball on your smartphone and tablet.
Using it as we speak, Hazel. It's a great opportunity to keep track of everything that's going on in the regular season. This is Guido Knudsen, who is into the ball game. He will take over for the Pirates here and face the top of the order. Daryl Siciliani will bat for the first time. He entered the game defensively in center field for Pilar. Siciliani has made an impression with the coaches here in camp. He swings the bat well, and he's played well in the field.
Blue Jays are looking for a 4th outfielder as he rolls that one on the ground.
Pedro Florimon took over defensively at second, makes the play. 1 out here in the bottom of the 8th.
And he is certainly in the mix for that 4th outfielder between Junior Lake and Ezequiel Carrera.
So many more players in camp this year that have a chance to make the ball club. Last year, Blue Jays had to scratch and claw to fill out their 25-man roster to break camp.
Remember at the end of spring training, they were scrambling around for pitchers, starting pitchers. When spring training started, no one thought of Sanchez possibly making the team or Daniel Norris. They were in A-ball the year before. Miguel Castro and Roberto Osuna. By the last week of spring training, those guys all headed north with the team.
Blue Jays broke camp with 6 rookies. This is Andy Burns. He fouls one off the catcher, Eddie Easley, who's just into the ballgame. Ed Easley hanging over behind the plate for Chris Stewart. One out. We're in the bottom of the 8th. This is Andy Burns. Josh Donaldson started at third base and went 0 for 3. Chopped foul off home plate.
You know, talk about a young kid who has opened up some eyes in the Blue Jays brass this spring. Andy Burns, he can play. He can play here in the major leagues.
Yes, he can. John Gibbons loves his versatility. He can play all around the infield, and he's even put him in the outfield here in games in the spring. He's hitting .350 for the spring. This was popped up off the end of the bat into right field.
Defensive changes to the Pirates. Now playing center field. Antoine Richardson.
2 down here in the bottom of the 8th. Burns flies out to right.
Jose Osuna is now first base. Left field is Jake Cooper. At second base, Pedro Florian.
Junior Lake will make his way to the plate. Lake batting for the first time. He took over defensively for Jose Bautista.
The right fielder, number 48, Junior Lake.
Junior Lake's played a lot. This is his 11th game in the spring. He has 6 hits in 26 at-bats. But what he has done is he's racked up some stolen bases. He's 4 for 4 in the stolen base department.
That'll play if you're in the 4th outfield hunt. Can you come in and steal a base late in a ball game as a pinch runner?
Junior Lake got the head out on that one. Lake played in winter ball, and talking to some of the scouts that are here all the time, he said he's played much better this spring than he played in the winter. He's doing a lot more things that catch your eye. He's played well in the field. He's run bases, as we mentioned. Pulls this one through the left side for a base hit.
That's what has impressed me right there. He has swung the bat. He was very comfortable at the plate. That was a tough pitch. That was in. Look how quickly he gets the head out.
Lake at first with 2 outs. It's a 1-run game. And you got a very patient hitter at the plate in Darwin Barney. You can bet Barney will give him a pitch to run if he wants to. Not running here. Barney takes one down and away. You got to think they want Lake to run just to see if he can do it. He's 4 for 4 this spring. Not running. 2-0.
He was getting those gloves on, those sliding gloves. He was getting ready. They're now on, secure.
Okay, now he's ready.
Now
two pitches to put his gloves on.
And now you should be ready, 2-0. You got to figure Barney's going to get a good pitch to hit.
He does. Takes a big swing and fouls it off. 3-1, 2 outs, 3-2 ball game. Base hit past the first baseman. Lake heads around second. He'll jog into third. Darwin Barney. An opposite field base hit.
He has been swinging the bat well this spring. Darwin Barney doesn't try and do too much with his pitches, down and away. It helps that the first baseman is holding that runner on, open up that hole on the right side. He squirts one through. That would have been the value, I think, for the Blue Jays if Lake was able to steal a base there. Might have been able to score.
Casey Kochman getting his first at bat. Pops it up. Third baseman Rogers, now the shortstop Cole Figueroa. He makes the catch. The inning is over. We'll head to the ninth. 3-2 Blue Jays over the Pirates.
And before we say goodbye here today, we had a raffle down.
Scott's Turf Builder grass seed with Water Smart Plus coating. Grows grass quicker and thicker. Guaranteed.
Andrew McCutcheon hit a home run in the top of the first inning. Well, Troy Tulowitzki is going to get those 2 runs back with his own 2-run home run. His third of the spring, high over the left field wall. Tulowitzki with our play of the game. His 3rd home run this spring.
New pitcher for the Blue Jays is a very interesting pitcher in camp, Pat Venditti. His 6th appearance. This is the first time we have seen him on our broadcast, but he's been interesting. He's an ambidextrous pitcher.
What makes him so interesting is he can throw right-handed, and if he sees a lefty coming up, he can switch over and throw left-handed. Just as hard, just as accomplished, if you will. And if you've ever tried doing that, I don't know, Buck, if you've ever tried throwing with your opposite hand, I have no chance. I don't know about you. That is really impressive to watch that happen.
Yeah, he is really pretty much the same pitcher from both sides. Breaking ball in there for a strike to Easley, the catcher. And Easley getting his first at-bat, batting in the 9th spot. Big sweeping breaking ball. Venditti signed originally with the New York Yankees, and he made his first minor league appearance in 2008, June 19th, pitching for the Staten Island Yankees. And he got 2 quick outs, and the third batter in that inning was a switch hitter. That led to a lot of problems
Well, he has to declare first, doesn't he? The pitcher has to declare what hand he's throwing with.
That had been decided after that first at bat because the batter kept switching and so did Pat. But they since clarified the rule. 1 out.
The CIS Women's Hockey Final is happening right now. UBC versus Montreal. Montreal leading 2-0 in the second period. Catch it over on Sportsnet 360 right now.
1 out, top of the 9th inning. Blue Jays have out-hit the Pirates 8-7. Ryan Goins with the go-ahead RBI back in the 5th. He got the green light on a 3-0 pitch and hammered it off the wall in center field. Troy Tulowitzki tied it up with a home run, as we mentioned, bottom of the 1st, a 2-run shot, his 3rd of the spring. Goins picks up his 7th RBI. That's the difference in this game. Gavin Floyd goes 4 1/3. He allows 4 hits, no runs, walked 2, and struck out 2. The starter was Marco Estrada. He gave up the 2-run home run to Andrew McCutchen in the 1st. He walked 3, struck out a batter. Jose Osuna lifts one to left, and a big first baseman will throw on the brakes and hustle back to the back. 1 out single for Osuna. So now Antoine Richardson is a switch hitter, and he just motioned to Venditti, what side you going to throw on? And now he's got to go back. Yeah, he's got to go back and get the other helmet because Venditti waved his left hand, said, I'm going to pitch this side, and Antoine Richardson misunderstood him. He went to the plate as a left-handed hitter, looked up, and Venditti had the glove on the right hand, so now he had to go back and get his other helmet.
And now he's switching. Can they do that? I thought they couldn't do that. Oh, he was just teasing him.
No. Yeah, he's just teasing. No, he can't do that. Once he makes up his mind which hand he's going to switch, then the batter can choose how he's going to bat. That rule has been clarified after that situation back in his professional debut in 2008.
And I think this is the right one. You send that batter a little bit further away from first base. You keep him from pulling the ball into the right field hole there. So if you can throw like this, you make him bat right-handed.
Venditti has pitched well this spring. This is his 6th appearance. He has allowed just 1 hit. Gets that ball in. I think his stuff is a little bit better as a lefty. I think there's just a little more bite to his breaking ball. Pat grew up in Omaha, and his father encouraged him to throw with both hands early on.
Well, he was always very impressed with Randy Choate. Choate just signed by the Blue Jays, and when Choate got here the other day, it was Pat Venditti who went right to him and asked him about his slider. Hey, how do you hold that slider? Because Choate's got a good one. So he's staying on top of it just a little bit more. And he's throwing a pretty good breaking ball from that left side.
In Little League, he threw from both sides, and sometimes people who weren't familiar with him thought they were twins.
Pat and Matt Venditti, right?
That left-handed Venditti can really throw.
Wait till you see his brother.
I played with Tom Murphy, pitcher for the Angels, played with us in Kansas City. His twin brother would put his uniform on, go out and shag during BP, and nobody knew it.
Could he play?
Oh, yeah. He was athletic, too, just like Tom. He wasn't a major league pitcher, but he would put Tom's uniform on and go out and shag balls in batting practice. That got away from Venditti, and he hits Richardson. So 2 aboard with 1 out. And now Venditti will put the glove on his left hand.
Third baseman
The glove, too, is ambidextrous.
Held on to that slider just a little bit too long, and Antoine Richardson can't get that leg out of the way. Yeah, the glove is ambidextrous also. Just he can put it on either hand and use it as either one.
It's a one-run game. Pirates threatening here. This is Jason Rogers, who entered the game in the 6th inning defensively. He popped out to third. There's a breaking ball missed inside. The hits are now even 8 apiece. There's a good fastball. Pirates have only won 5 games this spring. 5-11-1. Fans here at the ballpark saying that's the same pitch, Mr. Umpire.
Mark, was on a strike or what? This guy said it was a strike.
Sweeping breaking ball outside. There's a fastball strike. The Blue Jays, not the first time Venditti has pitched for the Blue Jays. He pitched for Creighton University in Omaha. They too are the Blue Jays. You know who else played at Creighton? I knew you knew it. He was pretty good.
He was okay.
He only had to throw with one hand.
I've never seen this up close and personal. This is pretty interesting.
Bouncing ball. Meyer gets the short hop. Nice flip to second, and they're going to call a double play. There's the new rule right there. Antoine Richardson slid into the fielder, but Darwin Barney, and the umpire immediately called the double play. That's the first time we've seen the new rule.
Yeah, from here it looked like he did not slide into the bag, and he started his slide very late into Barney trying to break it up. Let's watch it right here. Yeah, that's a late slide. Not a dirty slide. It wasn't, by all means, it wasn't dirty. But the new rule takes effect and the ball game's over.
Well, the double play ends the game. John Gibbons Ball Club wins another game. Blue Jays are having a fine spring. Gavin Floyd with a good outing. Clint Hurdle and John Gibbons exchanging their good wishes. These two ball clubs have played a couple of times this spring. We'll be back on the air next Saturday. The Blue Jays and the New York Yankees. It all starts at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, 10 p.m. Pacific Time. That will be our final broadcast from Florida. We'll have 2 more shows from Montreal, April 1st and 2nd. Good defense today, some timely hitting. Troy Tulowitzki bangs out his 3rd home run of the spring, and the Blue Jays win it 3-2. Thanks for watching.